This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It is time for the premier sports betting show with the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Capper, and this is the Primetime Angles Live. And boy, oh boy, I cannot wait to talk about today. We have so much on the plate, and we got my man Nick Swatwala chilling. He's just waiting in the lobby real quick. We're gonna bring him in a moment, but let's go ahead and get into the state of the Lakers. Crazy game last night. Lakers were able to go ahead and most Laker fans are pretty disappointed about that effort last night. But me, myself, I kind of saw it coming. Lakers were playing with some house money, being already 10-0 on the road this year. And you know that they didn't really play against the better teams on the road as well, too. The one competitive team they did have on the road were the Bucks. And they had, the Bucks game was a difficult one, but they still went ahead and won that game. And then pretty much I think that what happened here is that you go into this game, the Sixers were very hell-bent on winning this game the other night. So pretty much that's why I feel like that the game went the way it went. So pretty much let's go ahead and check out these highlights real quick. LeBron, let's check out these highlights real quick, and then I have some more for you. So go ahead, run the tape. And LeBron getting ready. Joel Embiid looking excited about the whole moment in hand. Joel Embiid starts off the game with a pretty 17-footer in, out, in. And then Steph Curry with the miss. Embiid offensive rebound, throws in a nice little layup, doing what big men do. And then LeBron coming back down the other way, takes it to Ben Simmons, grown man doing grown man things. And LeBron James again posted down Ben Simmons, the young protege, and then he gets the and one as well too. And then Joel Embiid throwing up a three. Big man threes. You already know what it is. And then Trez, little bump to the chest. And if we're at the park, that's an and one and the game right there. Raindrops falling on my head. There it is. Joel Embiid. He shows off a little bit, but he's looking for a foul as well too. You too big to be always looking for a foul. LeBron then to the hoop, kicks it over to KCP, cuts the lead to one. And then here we go. AD right down the middle gives the Lakers a 1-point lead, 106-105, and a Sixer timeout late. And here we go. Drama time to Harris takes Caruso to the hoop, 10 feet out. Bam! Game time. 76ers win 107-106, beating the Lakers, ending their 10-game winning streak as well too. AD throws up the heave-ho, but nothing goes. And there it is. Lakers lose the game 107-106 on a Tobias Harris 10-foot jumper with 2.4 seconds left to go in the game. Nothing but excitement going there with the 76ers in a possible NBA Finals matchup as well too. So I know I can't wait for it. And I can't wait to see these guys play again. Honestly, it's going to be a great game again. And pretty much this does look really good for moving forward. You do have a 76ers team that was 12-4 coming into the game last night. The Lakers were 14-4. Now they're 14-5. So it is what it is at the end of the day. The Lakers go ahead and they were fall short. But all in all, this is a good learning lesson, everything like that. And you got to understand the Lakers did win their first 10 road games as well too. So pretty much let's move forward. And it was a night to behold for the two rookies last night. The number one pick in the draft, Anthony Edwards, and then the number two pick in the draft, James Wiseman, hooked up last night, and both went for 25-plus points. This hasn't been done since 1996 when Allen Iverson and Marcus Camby squared off, and Iverson had 26, Camby had 36 that night. And let's go ahead and get a good look at this highlight as well, too. This was an awesome display between these two players last night. Let's go ahead and run the tape. All right. And as you guys can see, Wiseman starting off with a nice three, and it was a smooth stroke as well, too. So Curry directing the offense. Then he kicks it out to Wiseman for another nice lefty stroke. And this guy has been such a big impact on this team. Just be ready for the future to be built around James Wiseman. All right. Out to Edwards, pump fake, throws up a three of his own. Water. Then again, Edwards working it, takes it to the hoop. Nice layup in transition. Great job. And then, pretty much we get back down the court. And again, great block from Wiseman. And then we go the other way. Wiseman all by himself and jumps literally down from the free throw line and throws down a one-handed gem. OMG. My favorite rookie, to be honest with you. And then Edwards again throws up a nice three. Bam. You don't hear much from Edwards this year, but you know what? We're going to probably start hearing a little bit more. The Wolves are just a really bad team. They are down 20. Edwards throws up another three, has another good moment for Edwards as well, too. And pretty much this game was really over before it even started. But at the end of the day, it was a hell of an effort. Let's go ahead and look at it again. We got ourselves Edwards went for 25 last night, while Wiseman went for 25 as well, too. So great effort from those two last night. And boy, what a game. Now, the game of the night probably wound up being in Atlanta last night if it wasn't in Philadelphia. And boy, oh boy, once again, the Nets, they ain't playing great defense, but one thing that they are doing, they're winning basketball games. So let's go ahead and check out the Nets in this OT win that they had last night, winning 132 to 128. Go ahead and run the tape. As you can see, Kevin Durant already getting the cooking. And there it is, throws up a nice three. And you see we're late in the fourth quarter. That's where I skipped the highlight too. Kyrie doing Kyrie things, throws up a nice little 5-footer, putting the Nets up too. And then Cam Reddish sighting, there he goes, ties up the game at 116. So we go back down the other way. James Harden doing James Harden things, dribble, shoot, off. And this sets up a Atlanta possession for the final seconds, but Atlanta's not able to get the alley-oop in, and then we head to overtime. And that's when the Nets pretty much took over this game. Kyrie working it, and just like out at the record, nice little 9-footer, easy money. And there it is. Trace trying to keep his squad in the game, getting the and one there. Now the Nets were up 4, and here comes KD with the exclamation point to go ahead and end it. And you guys see the face on Trey. You already know, hey, I can't wait to be that good in the NBA. That's what he was saying to himself as well, too. So pretty much it is what it is, and that's our NBA highlights from last night. Those were the best 3 games that I saw last night. And I would say that our player of the night was Tobias Harris because he did hit a big shot over the world champion Los Angeles Lakers last night as well, too. So pretty much let's go ahead and bring in our guest, my man, Nick Swatwala. What's going on, brother? How you doing? How's everything going?
Primetime pop, baby. It's great to hear from you. Obviously, there's a lot circulating right now. Some time to play with before the Super Bowl. So it's good with the NBA. It's good with the college hoops. Good with the drama with Watson. I can't wait for it, Pop. I can't.
All right, so let's go ahead. We're gonna start off first before we go to break. Let's get into the Texans' brand new coach, Dave Culley. What are your thoughts on the hire?
I mean, it's obviously a horrendous hire. The guy was not going to be in play for any type of head coaching job, and not only this offseason, but probably the following and probably the one. As far as Culley goes specifically, 2 notes before I get into the big picture. Number one, it's a damn good thing the Texans hired a black coach because there was probably going to be riots or a revolt, and they needed to hire a black coach. They just needed to. And I thought it was going to be Frazier. I at the end of the day, I understand why it wasn't Bieniemy. For a reason I'll get to for my main point. But the bottom line is it's good that they hired a black coach. That's number one, because there would have been outrage if they hired this, Josh McCown, who, oh, by the way, might be a great head coach down the road. But Josh McCown, I mean, he's just getting off the sideline. That would not have been a good look at all for the NFL if they would have went forward with McCown. So from that standpoint, that's an important note based on the conversation circulating around the head coaching search. Secondly, Culley has no business getting this job. The reason why he got this job is because no one else wants it. When the Lions fans bitch about the Detroit not hiring Robert Saleh and they bring in a Dan Campbell for a 6-year deal, no one's ever heard of him aside from people that like myself watch my Jets and Joe Philbin's head coaching career in London, and in came Campbell for that interim stretch. Besides that, no one's ever heard of the guy. The reason why the Lions are making a hire like that, the reason why Collins, who somehow gets a look over Wink Martindale on his own team, I don't understand that at all. But the reason why these two teams are making two horrendous, unpopular, uninspiring hires is because they're two brutal jobs. And the Lions' job is bad, but the Texans' job, it's really bad because he knew what he was walking into. I firmly believe Saleh wanted nothing to do with it. I firmly believe people talk about Bieniemy not getting the job. I haven't heard one reporter ask him if he wanted the job. And I think Bieniemy's smart enough to not take that job. It's a mess. Watson's going to be out the door. I think there's a couple of teams in play. And in the end, the Texans organization picked this goofball Jack Easterby over Deshaun Watson. You can't explain it.
Well, and you know what the hire really reminds me of? This reminds me of Al Davis in the later years. And when he went ahead and he couldn't find a head coach, nobody wanted to work for the Raiders at the time. He went back into the well and he went and got Art Shell, of all coaches. Art Shell was the first black head coach, all that great stuff. But by this time, Art Shell had aged in the NFL. He's pretty much a dinosaur in the league. You know what I mean? So pretty much the Raiders go ahead and muscle out, I think, maybe 1 to 2 wins that season. And I think what they're doing here is having a stopgap coach in a last-second ditch effort to try to keep Watson here. So pretty much that's going to be our topic at hand when we get back, and we're going to talk about all the head coaches and the hires as well too. So you guys stay tuned. We will be right back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and my main man, Nick Satwala, and we'll be right back. The Viget app, where social media meets sports betting. Get the latest line movements in all major sports. Track your daily bets, daily contests, the NFL over-under contest that pays out $10K in cash prizes. This is a cutting-edge app that helps betting be easy. Sign up with the reference code POPDBIC and you will be able to watch my daily show, The Primetime Angles, as a resource to building that bankroll. Viget is available in your Apple or Google Store on your iOS or Android. The social sports betting app, Viget. Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange. All right, we're back, and pretty much it is what it is. I got Nick Satwala here with me, and this is the premier sports betting show with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And boy, oh boy, I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a funny offseason, and there's going to be a lot of coaches that are going to have to start from scratch. So pretty much, let's go ahead and get into Deshaun first, though. Deshaun, I think he's making a monster mistake right now. He has to go ahead and tell himself, okay, Bill O'Brien made some bad mistakes. Mm-hmm. I committed to this team. So this is my team at the end of the day.
Okay.
But pretty much J.J. Watt spoke up for me and got Bill O'Brien out of here. Okay? All right, we get Bill O'Brien out of here. Now, I've signed off on this contract. This team forever believed in me. They did not have to hand me this contract after tearing my ACL my rookie season. Even though you lights out, you're stellar, you're doing all those things. But when you compare his numbers to Dak's numbers, Dak didn't even get paid. And Dak, Dak is in a different situation where he should have been, Dak should have been secured, but he's not. So pretty much they secured Deshaun Watson with the idea that we're going to have you as another one of our Aaron Rodgers, a Peyton Manning type. So you just go with the flow and we'll see what we can do for you. But you're just going to have to give us some time to recreate this thing a little bit. So pretty much that's my thoughts on it with that. I know a lot of people want to say free Watson, all that good stuff. But to me, at the end of the day, this has to be another situation where we got an NFL player acting as if he can do the same thing as an NBA player. So that's pretty much my 2 cents on that right there, with him wanting to be traded and everything like that. And I understand now they're giving you a coach that really wants to get you out. Now you really want to get out of there. But they brought this coach in to talk to him and try to save this relationship. Your thoughts, Nick?
Well, I don't think the coach, I mean, look, I think it was done. I think he's been out the door before the coach got hired. I think, well, first of all, there's 15 to 20 players in the league, in my opinion. Most of them at the quarterback position that can pull off what you see in the NBA. And I think you're going to see that going forward. And ultimately, I don't blame Watson for this, and I don't think he's making a mistake, because although people can crack the jokes and say, well, why would he go to an organization like the Jets? Or why would he go to an organization like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not about that. It's about what happened in the last several months. And what happened is, while I don't think if I'm running a team, I'm not letting these players come in and tell me what to do. That's not how this is working. And I don't think that's how Watson wants it perceived to be. The bottom line is he wasn't consulted with. And when you have one of those top 15, top 20, there's stars, superstars, and then you have those 15 to 20 super duper stars. Watson's one of those players. You have to keep the guy in the loop. You have to keep the guy in the loop and allow him to share his thoughts. And you have to basically prove that you're a franchise that understands how to handle a superstar. The ego, sometimes I blame the ego, sometimes I don't. In this case, I'll blame, don't get me started on Harden. But, in this case, I understand where Watson's coming from completely. I think it's pretty obvious. In fact, I've seen an example of it myself. Why do you ask? Simple. Did you see how Mike McCagnon handled Jamal Adams? You're looking at a Jet fan here. I've seen this. When a franchise doesn't handle a superstar, albeit apples and oranges as far as why, he wanted out. But as far as Watson goes, I don't think he's making a mistake. I think the Texans, if you look up what has transpired in that Texans facility, in that organization in the last 3 years, it makes the Lions, the Jets, and the Bengals look functional. That's how bad it is. And basically, like I said, choosing essentially Jack Easterby over Deshaun Watson is a critical mistake. And while I don't think a player should run a team, I think they should be able to go in the double doors, have a seat with everybody, and be in the loop. They did not keep him in the loop. I like Calasario, the GM hire, the head coaching hire. I already explained it. The reason why they end up with that hire, and it's a bad hire, it's a $1 lottery ticket, is because it's a horrendous job, and Watson's been out the door.
Well, I'm with you on that. But see, me as an owner GM taking him on, I know what risk I'm taking on now. If we fail, Are you going to want to leave my place as well too? That's what I'm thinking about now as well.
It's fair. Look, it's fair. I think that's fair. I think that, but I think it's based on circumstance. I do.
Because I honestly feel that Deshaun, great player, and he's earned the right to play exactly where he wants to play. But when you put those no trade clauses into your contract, you're committing to that team. You're telling this team that I'm with you in the long run. So if things go wrong, if the dookie hits the fan, then I'm gonna be right here with you. And the loyalty is just and I know teams aren't loyal to players, but when you sign off on that no trade, you said that I'm going to be committed to anything that goes down over here. But I think though, at the end of the day, they would have been able to maybe save it if they were able to bring in the right coach. But I know they didn't bring in this coach simply because at the end of the day, we both know, and I'm going to let you get to your point about Bieniemy as well too. We all both know that Eric Bieniemy is right now saving himself for that Chiefs job. There's no guarantees Andy Reid comes back next year if he goes back to back. Andy Reid is an accomplished coach in the NFL. He doesn't really. What more would he be coaching for? He's already set this team up.
I mean, that's where I would stop you. I think there's some things still to coach for Reid. I think there's that top tier of not only you're talking about a dynasty that's just now really, Dee Ford lining up on the wrong side of the line of scrimmage in the AFC Championship game. By the way, was probably my biggest gambling loss of my life. Since then, the dynasty's been born. The dynasty has been born, and this is something that could go on. They have cheap years of Mahomes. It's going to be a couple of years before the cap really gets complicated. I think Reid's going to stick. I don't know Reid. Haven't interviewed him. Haven't read much about his future. And you could be right. All I'm saying is that there is something for him to coach for. I do believe that, because you're talking about Reed all of a sudden with maybe a championship this year with Mahomes in his back pocket. I mean, come on. You're talking about him maybe climbing up that list, right up that list. Right below Lombardi. There's that Lombardi, there's the Belichick, there's the Shula, there's that collection of coaches. Reed's not there yet. He could.
Right. But, when you get that second one and you've been in the game as long as Andy Reid has, and the sacrifices Andy Reid has made over the years.
It's a personal
problem. At some point in time, he knows that he has to think about wrapping it up. Belichick has lost everything. Look at Belichick's life right now. His kids are grown.
Yep.
His wife left him. Now he got his girlfriend and a dog. You know what I mean? So that's from hanging out in the NFL too long. You know what I mean? And we don't want to get too into personal issues like with Andy. We know what happened with the son passing away. Right. He was still coaching in Philadelphia. He had to go ahead and take a year. And it took him 2 to 3 years to take a year off from that. So pretty much he's been coaching nonstop. And that's just my whole thing. And I just feel like Andy, I would feel like he's at the top of the mountain. He might want to just hand it over to Bieniemy. But you have a great point as well, too. Why would you want to leave something that's going so great? He loves coaching.
I think the Bieniemy thing could be a good thought, to the point where why I think Bieniemy might be kind of turning his head on some of these jobs. I also think Bieniemy could be turning his head on some of these jobs. And I really only mean 2, let's be honest, and maybe 3, because Philadelphia, the thing that people are they're going outraged over the Philly hire. You have to understand, the Philly hire was specifically only about saving Wentz. And Frank Reich picked up the phone from Indy, and this kid worked under Frank and with the Chargers and you name it. And basically he said, here's your guy. Take a run with it. If you want to keep Wentz and the salary cap is making you keep him, take a run at this guy. So Philly is it's an atrocious job, and it's a mess. And I don't think Bieniemy would have taken that if he was offered. But the bottom line is there's 3 bad jobs. It was the Texans, it was the Lions, and it was that Philadelphia job. And I understand why Bieniemy would look the other way, but you might be onto something there. Look, maybe Reed over this time has maybe gotten Bieniemy's ear and said, look, if you find a situation like where, let's say the Chargers ownership wasn't cheap, and we'll get to Staley and Dable, but maybe let's just say the Chargers ownership wasn't cheap and they wanted to hire an offensive coach. Maybe Bieniemy would have been the guy with Dable. Who knows? If it was, and that's a glorious job. I mean, I'd kill for that job if I was on the market as a coach. You kidding me? With all those stars and some picks and Herbert, who's already a solidified player at the position. But if it's not a job like that, maybe to your point, Reed gets in his ear and said, yo, I'm going to give this thing one more run next year, and after that, the keys are yours. Maybe.
Hey, you might want to be the first coach to go get 3 in a row. Now, let's go ahead, and I got my list ready for the coaches in ranking on how I feel. We've filled every slot now.
Yeah.
I have Arthur Smith 7th because I have no clue who Arthur Smith truly is. I know that offense was really being ignited by Derrick Henry and, pretty much a lot of play action passes coming from Ryan Tannehill. And then you had a great year from A.J. Brown as well, too. So this is how coaches do get jobs like these. But the thing is, though, Atlanta needed to hire a coach that maybe was a little bit more experienced at this point in time. You got Matt Ryan, pretty much about another year or 2 left with the team. And then Gurley's going to probably be gone by the time we start off season. And then they had to think about Julio Jones. I think, honestly, that they might be thinking about releasing Julio Jones because he has a big price tag, and they have Riley as well, too. So pretty much they could go ahead and alleviate that cap space and, try to be a player in the offseason as well, too, bringing in some more defense. So I'm thinking to myself that this is not a great hire because this is not a great fit because this guy is about to get a team that they're going to have to rebuild probably in the next year or so. What are your thoughts on that one real quick?
What would have been a good fit? I mean, the Falcons, they're not that far out of that group of bad jobs too. Let's be honest. Look at Ryan's number, the figures on Spot Track. I mean, the bottom line is it's not a job that's ready to win now. The window is closed in Atlanta, right? Gurley's shot. Ryan's pretty close to being shot. Julio Jones still has something left, but like you said, I don't think releasing him could possibly be an option. I think there's something out there where someone would take him on, even in the year where the cap might be dipping a little, and it's going to dip. Let's be honest, it's going to dip. I still think there might be a suitor out there. Jones has played just enough in the past couple of years to prove to me Now, look, I don't think he's a top 3 player at this time, but he's a hell of a player. And I think he could garner something. As far as Smith goes, look, you didn't mention the key name. It was Ryan Tannehill. What he did with Tannehill, and maybe it just speaks to how much Adam Gase blows as a coach. Could be. But for Tannehill to go to Tennessee and for what they had the last 2 years, especially this year without Conklin, they have Luan, the injuries with Luan. That's tough on the offensive line. They blow it on the signing. I mean, the 2 pass rushers that they signed, Clowney and Beasley, bust. So given all of that, I think Smith maybe overachieved with the offense this year. I don't think that's unfair to say. I don't think it's unfair for Smith to get that Falcon job. I don't think it was a very desirable job, and it's a tough situation. Who would have been a good fit? I don't know. You're going into a situation with a quarterback, monster figures. You can't trade him until at least the following year. You got to ditch Jones because they're in red. I mean, Dimitrov packs his bags out there, and people are like, okay, good GM, good tenure. But, Dimitrov, he left this team in some big issues. I think bigger than what Arthur Smith will be able to fix, but he could show some things as a coach. It's worth a shot. I do. I think it's worth a shot.
Agreed on the Dimitrov. And then I'll just have to see. It's a touch and go situation for me. You know what I mean? And I think I have Dave Culley in here, 6 in the rankings. It's because of experience. He's been around for a long time, and it seems like sometimes the older coaches are able to get this get the best out of these players.
Clean up the situation a little bit.
Right. And you know what? He'll be a type of coach if Deshaun leaves and everything like that, he'll be ready to take on the new quarterback, and then he'll have a clean slate as well too. And then they can maybe start something. They can maybe get something there because there's still a wide open chance that they can get Matt Stafford. He's a Texas boy, and Matt Stafford could easily be a part of the Texans roster next year. He'll be back home, but I don't think he's going to want to go to a team that's not going backwards. I think he wants to go to a team going forward. So I think the Pats and Colts are really top options for him in that regard. But let me stay on topic. I just think that Dave Culley is, with him getting his opportunity now, this is going to be something that's going to be fairly helpful for this coach, in my opinion. And I think that he's going to be able to lead this team in a different way than they were being led the last few years. And the Texas squad, it's going to be a long road, and we know that this coach, most likely, if he's not successful, he's going to be a stopgap coach. He only has a year or two really here to fix this thing,
right?
Because they may be preparing themselves to break the bank for Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley just said, "Oh, I'm good right now," but we don't know how that situation is going to go at Oklahoma. And I know that kid that's playing quarterback will probably push me to the NFL when he's all said and done as well, too. So that's what I'm thinking right there. But we talked about Dave, and you gave me your points on Dave Culley. So we're going to fast forward and move forward to number 5. And the number 5 coach that I have here, Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell is another big spirited coach. Let's go on out there, and I'm going to give great speeches, and we're going to go out there and kick some butt, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and blah, 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 blah. And then you got to remember you're coaching the Lions. So what's your thoughts on the Campbell?
I mean, it's, I mean, you can't walk away inspired by it. I mean, press conference or not. Now, look, I think the press conference means something. You're talking about a Jet fan here. Do you think when I saw Adam Gase at his opening presser, you think I was inspired by that? I wasn't. So I'm not going to say it means nothing, but I don't get hopped up over the press conference. What I do get hopped up over is that, again, this is not a job anybody wanted. And by the way, with Matt Stafford, the reason why Matt Stafford wants out is because he wants to go somewhere that doesn't have a long road. The Texans have a long road. The Lions, 10 holes on defense. I'd argue 11, but I'll be nice and give Okuda the benefit of the doubt and Flowers. So make it 9 holes on defense. You can't flip around and win 11, 12 games tomorrow with that. So it needs to happen with Stafford, and they knew this was going to happen. Stafford wanted out before the search was conducted. Therefore, we know why Campbell got hired. It wasn't Bieniemy. Lions, if you turn on Detroit Talk Radio, the fans will call up and bitch about the idea of not getting Saleh. Hold on. Robert Saleh was one of the hottest commodities on the market, hottest names on the market. Compare the Jets job and the Lions job, and that should explain it. Robert Saleh, and he's a hometown guy. So a hometown guy doesn't want the job. That's how bad it is. So this is how you end up with Dan Campbell, a guy, like I said, most people haven't heard of. He's a player's coach. He's never coordinated in his life. He's never going to call a play in his life. Let's be honest. He's going to be the prototypical player's coach. He might not even wear a damn headset. Who knows? I mean, he's going to make the game calls, the game management calls, but it's going to be up to Anthony Lynn as a play caller. It's going to be up to his staff, which, by the way, I'm very high on the hires that Campbell has been able to make. I've been surprised. I was surprised Anthony Lynn took that Lions job. Anthony Lynn, the offensive coordinator, just is so much more appealing than Anthony Lynn, the head coach, to me. And I think it's a great hire. So I want to give this guy a chance. But this is, again, it's another $1 lottery ticket. Nobody in the league would have had Dan Campbell on their list this year and even probably next year. So it's one of those things where you just say, hey, this job isn't good enough to have Saleh. This job isn't good enough to get a big time splashy name. It's not. Why? Because you have a losing ownership. It's a losing organization. You have one playoff win since '57, and the rest kind of speaks for itself. I mean, you ran Kelvin Johnson out the door, you ran Barry Sanders out the door, and now you ran Matt Stafford out the door. And while I've been hard on Stafford over the years, I still think he's a very good player. That's not free from all the blame. 2013, 7-5 driver's seat, they blow it. Stafford had a lot to do with that, but hell of a player, and I hope he goes to a winner.
All right. And then, Stafford, I'm thinking Pat's Colts. Honestly, I'm thinking that right now.
Yeah. And then, by the way, about Belichick, you're right. I think he's going to be aggressive this offseason. He's not going to sit back at his age. And no, I think he's going to spend his dollars. And I think who knows, with the money to spend, I think you're onto something with the Pats there too. Unpopular team right now.
Right. And, babe, he got a big payback. That's all I can say about Billy B. But let's skip over to number 4. I'm going to go ahead and put the young gun here. Nick Sirianni, Eagles job. I would think that me and you both agree that he's brought here to save the relationship with Wentz.
Only reason.
And simply. And I think that what they pretty much did for themselves was they made Jalen Hurts an asset. Jalen Hurts is a possible quarterback that if something goes wrong with your starter, say like in Houston, you might want to go ahead and give them a phone call, especially if you're trying to play for like a first pick in the draft or something of that nature. But I still think that he's going to be more of a gimmicky, versatile player that you bring in. And I think Sirianni brings a different element to this Eagles team that Peterson didn't have. I think Peterson just didn't tell the truth of it. I think, and that's what my man Lofa told me the other day. When coaches start lying to you, that's when you lose all respect for them. And I think that's exactly what happened in that situation. Coach lied, and they went back and asked the players would they want to still play for Peterson, and they said no. And it's that simple. And so pretty much that's why it took him so long to fire him anyway. He was fired a week or two after the season was over. We were damn near into the playoffs by the time he got fired. So pretty much I'm thinking Sirianni is a pick that they made. They did this because they wanted a low-key hire, and just in case he doesn't hit the way he's supposed to hit, Philly's not scared to fire you after a year. We know that. Richie Kotite. So pretty much the thing is they'll fire you after a year in Philadelphia. So we know that Sirianni, they'll probably give him about a season or two, but he's going to have to fix this thing and fix this thing quickly. Real quick, what's your thoughts? Because I know that you got to run and everything like that.
No, we're cool. And yeah, I mean, Kotite, 15-loss Jets season too. Look, the bottom line is with Sirianni, I don't know how you have him in the middle of the pack. He's too big of a wild card for me. I think he's got to be at the bottom of the list, mainly because he's entering a job that, again, like, it's a wild card. Like if Carson Wentz finds himself, this would be the guy, I guess. And Frank Reich, I'd listen to Frank Reich. I didn't agree with Frank Reich in the first round of the playoffs with some of the decisions he made. But every time I look at Reich and every decision I see him make on the field and off the field, he seems like a hell of a bright guy. So I would take his word on this hire. I would swap him and Arthur Smith on your list. I think Arthur Smith is more appropriate as the Falcon job in the middle of your list. And I think it's better that you have Sirianni replaced with him, because it's just like when you have guys like Campbell and Sirianni and the Houston hire, like you just don't know. That's why they're at the bottom of my list, is because they're unknown, right? It's an unknown commodity, unknown name, non-coordinators, haven't made a big decision on the field in their life, and they're entering situations that are losing situations with losing ownership, and that doesn't help their case. I shouldn't say that about Philly. But when it comes to Houston, and it comes to Detroit, it's for by most accounts and as of late for Houston, it's a very toxic situation. It's a very low percentage chance to succeed.
Understood. And I think that they'll just be going back into the well in very quickly. So that's how I'm feeling on the Eagles as well too. But I just like Sirianni because it seems like he's another young gun that nobody knows much about, and the way that he made put Phillip Rivers somewhat back together, because Phillip Rivers really needed to be on a team like the Colts to really look good, because if we'd have put him on the Jaguars, his season would have been over after the first month of the season. We both know. We both know this. So, at the end of the day, that's what it is, So let's get into the top three here that I got. And up first, I got Urban Meyer. And I got Urban here because Urban is inheriting the most irrelevant situation in the NFL, period, point blank. But he probably might have the best time frame to build a team, because he's really close with the ownership group, and this ownership group is already used to being bad. But I seriously know they brought in Urban Meyer simply to help them sell tickets, get them the right quarterback, coach up that quarterback, and build a culture. And then we'll hand it off to the top assistant in 5 years. That's how I'm feeling with Urban Meyer if they have success. This may be the first place Urban Meyer gets fired from. We'll see.
Maybe. Well, I agree. Irrelevant. When you say the word irrelevant, I agree. When you look at, since the championship game in New England, since then, of course, it's irrelevant. I mean, it's been a terrible place. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, another player in the NFL, that's another player that forced his way out. And I don't really have a problem with Jalen Ramsey for wanting out of that situation. I don't. And he's another guy that signed the contract the whole bit. So I agree. Irrelevant in years past, but I don't know if Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence should really constitute as an irrelevant situation now. I think it's no longer irrelevant. I think he's taking Trevor Lawrence number one. Anyone who says otherwise is probably an Ohio State fan that probably thinks Fields is a little bit better than what he is as a prospect. I don't have any other explanation. It's going to be Trevor Lawrence at number one. He's one of the best prospects I've ever seen. And when I hear the other people that have seen the Elway, and I saw Luck, obviously, but when you're talking about Elway and all these super duper prospects in the past, I think Lawrence is going to be in that category when it's all said and done. And I can't call it irrelevant. As far as the big picture, they got money to spend. They got picks. I don't think they're going to be trading for any more picks, because you don't want too many picks. You don't want a bunch of young superstars expiring in the same year. So I think they could be in play to maybe even diminish some of that capital to get a player. Maybe not right away. I think the first year is going to be rough, a lot of holes, but they're going to have to build that offensive line. But it's going to start with Lawrence at number one, and they hold their second and third, and it's going to be up to Meyer, who, by the way, I think has pretty close to full autonomy. I think Shad Khan, in a perfect world, would want autonomy. Shad Khan's a loyal owner. From that standpoint, he's good, right? The Fords in Detroit, Khan, they're loyal. But from a football standpoint, he's not a great owner. Urban Meyer's going to be making these calls.
Right. Exactly.
And I like the hire.
Right.
People aren't giving Urban a chance. I don't understand. As if there's no record of college coaches going to the league and succeeding. Jimmy Johnson, let's see, college to the pro. Carroll, college to pro. I mean, I think that's a lazy argument. I think it's a very lazy argument.
I believe in Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer hasn't done anything but win everywhere he's been. And coaches that win everywhere they go, it doesn't matter if it's Pop Warner or the CFL. They win, and that's what they do. And if you know the game winning, you're going to win. You're going to be successful in the NFL. And he's going to be the guy that's going to mold the right type of players here. He's already from this area. He knows the area very well. And I know one thing. Now he has a different type of control. When he was at Florida, that was a madhouse. Now, when we all look at everything, you know what I mean? He was coaching a lot of talented players that were very aggressive outside of the field. But that kind of got cleaned up when he got to Ohio State. And I think now in the NFL, since you have so many people that are very quick to go ahead and get rid of somebody when they do something that's very out of character, then he is in a different position, because one mistake can end a guy's career. And I think he'll be able to remind those guys of that. So as we move forward, let's go ahead and talk about number two. And he's going to get number two. And I know it's going to be your new head coach, but Rob Saleh is who I got as number two. He was going to be number one, But then I have to look at the situation and say, okay, Rob Saleh is not going to give up on Sam Darnold the first season. I have the feeling he's not going to do that. I think that he's going to entrust in himself that I'm going to bring my man LaFleur with me, twin brother, the most successful coach in the NFC right now, a guy who's been to 2 NFC championship games, drawing up a spectacular offense over there in Green Bay. Let me go get his twin brother to do the same thing for Sam Darnold. But what he has to do for Sam Darnold is get Sam Darnold some weapons. But I think Saleh wants to make sure that he puts the defense back intact, and the offense literally will be something that they can build as they go. And I think that the offense will be a big key for them this offseason, in my opinion. That means linemen and receivers and high-end catching tight ends as well, too. That's what I'm thinking. And I think Saleh is the coach that can coach them up. And it reminds me of the Harbaugh hire when he went to San Francisco. It really does. A lot of people are going to think that maybe that rah-rah might not work with the Jets, and the Jets might be a little, they might not get it early. But I think that this is the best hire they've made in a very long time when it comes to the head coach. And I think that he's going to be very successful with the Jets and moving forward and building a culture with the Jets as well, too.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Look, he's the hottest name on the market, so it feels good. And look, the Jets is a great job. If you can make the jokes, crack your jokes, trust me, I've heard all of them. But it's a great job. I mean, when you look at the picks and you look at the money to spend and you look at the fact that you already have something Jacksonville doesn't have, by the way, 2 foundational superstars.
Right.
One on offense, one on D. On rookie deals. That's a hell of a place to walk into right now. And it's New York and all that hot fudge on top of the sundae. So I get it's nice. I mean, as a Jet fan, it's nice. Now, I wouldn't go that crazy, though, as far as calling, look, I just don't go crazy like that over these hires. Like, I call them horrendous hires and whack names and whack situations and losing organizations. I do. But I don't give Campbell a 0% chance to succeed. I don't give Culley a 0% chance to succeed. That's kind of how I am on the flip side, too, at the top. Like, I'm excited about Saleh. His resume speaks for itself. Off the field, likable guy. Little much at times for me, but he's a likable guy. And he acts ecstatic and loaded with enthusiasm, sometimes too much. But I like that. I do. And there's reasons why I love Urban to Jacksonville. There's reasons why I love Saleh to the Jets. He's the hottest name on the market. But as far as, me going too crazy, come on now. Let's see him throw the headset on. Let's see him make a key call last 3 minutes. Prove to me he can manage a game. We haven't seen it yet. Prove to me he and Douglas can work together and make the right decisions. And by the way, as far as the quarterback position, I agree. I've been on this for weeks now, dating back to Justin Fields tearing up Clemson. And Buckeye fans get mad at me, but it's just the truth. And it doesn't mean Fields can't be a good player. But as of right now, based on what you have with the ceiling of Darnold and the money you're paying Darnold, you're not going out there and drafting the quarterback. Why should you? I think it's either Darnold or Watson. And if it's not Watson, I think you're either looking at a wonderful opportunity to trade down from number 2 and run the draft. You're running the draft this year, and you'd be running the draft next year. Thank you, Seattle. But as far as the quarterbacks, I think it's Darnold or Watson. And frankly, I'm pulling for the team to keep Darnold because I know Watson's going to cost too much. I'm not giving up 3 number 1s in Quinn and Williams. I'm not. I'm okay with Darnold, and I'm okay with building this thing through the draft. Whether it's Sewell at pick 2, sign me up. Whether it's trade down and run the draft for the next 2 years, sign me up. But this idea that they're going to give up, their entire future for 7 wins with Watson ain't going to happen. They're not a situation ready for Stafford. I'm interested to see what Saleh brings to the table, but I can't sit here and tell you that he's 1,000% the guy. I've seen this too many times. You have to let the guy coach. But I get the excitement, and I'm right with Jet fans for the most part.
All right, and it seems like all the 49er fans feel like they have some say in this Watson situation as well, too. But I got to understand, y'all paying Jimmy G a pretty penny right now, and I don't know if it's going to be that easy of a deal to make, but they might have to they could do a swap. You know what I mean? But let's go ahead and talk about my number 1, and it's not really hard to tell, but the number 1 coach right now got to be Brandon Staley. defensive coordinator for the Rams, had the best defense in the NFL. It didn't have to go anywhere but jump on the 5 freeway and go on down to Orange County and now work with the Chargers. So pretty much, I think Brandon Staley is a knock it out the park hire. He's the right type of coach. It seems like they're always a better team when they have a defensive coach in hand as well too. And I know why you're smiling, because he gets to have Justin Herbert, and he won the quarterback draft when it came to the quarterback scenario. When it comes to this, he has a quarterback with nothing but a high ceiling here. He has one of the most underrated wide receiver cores in the NFL as well too. And come on, he got, when he's healthy, maybe one of the best rushers in the league, Joey Bosa, on the other side, who can change the outcome of games anytime he's on the field. So the Chargers right now can be this coach looks like the coach that's going to be able to coach them up to get those wins that they weren't getting last season. So pretty much that's what I'm looking at with Brandon Staley. And I think Brandon Staley is a knock it out the park type of coach. And I think that he's going to bring a new culture to the Chargers. And I think the Chargers want to be kind of a duplicate of what's going on over there with the Rams. Be consistent. Win consistently, and that's what they're looking at right now. Real quick, your thoughts on Staley, and then I got to let you go and get to commercial.
Well, again, the knock it out of the park, I get you listed reasons why you like the hire, because the job's tremendous, and you're right. I've mentioned it. You're spot on. The job I think it was the best job available. I think it's the best job available to win now and for the future, and based on a little wiggle room with the cap, with all those stars. Yeah, it's a marvelous job. Headlined by the idea of hitting on the quarterback position last draft, no doubt. But I don't call this a home run hire, because the bottom line to me is that if ownership wasn't cheap, and they would have hired the best candidate on the head coaching carousel, or what would have been, and that's Brian Daboll. The same Brian Daboll that turned Josh Allen into a superstar, the same Brian Daboll that's been mentored by Bill Belichick and Nick Saban. I think Daboll too, like Bieniemy, wanted to find the right spot. And Bills fans are ecstatic to keep Daboll, just like Chiefs fans are ecstatic to keep Bieniemy for another year. But the reason why Daboll didn't get the job is because they didn't want to clean out the staff. They fire Anthony Lynn, who's the offensive coach, and Anthony Lynn needed to go. He needed to go. Like he can't. He's not a head coach. He just isn't. But when it comes to his staff, they did a good job with Herbert last year, as did Anthony Lynn. But I don't understand how you don't clean house there. And the reason why they didn't is because they didn't want to spend the money. So you allocate money to the defensive side, which was new, Staley and his staff. And I get it. Staley's your Rams hat, baby. I know why you love him. He came in year one and he took over the wheel after Wade Phillips took a little break, and he did a tremendous job. And I'm not saying he's not qualified after a marvelous year like that based on some of these guys that get hired. Don't misinterpret. But the bottom line is Brian Daboll would have been the best fit for the job, I think. Before I see what I need to see, I mean, with Herbert, Daboll, after what I saw this year with Allen, that would have been a sexier hire to me. But the reason why it didn't happen was not Staley being a better candidate. It was because of money. So they hire Staley, and they don't have to buy out all these coaches from last year, and then they bring in Daboll, then they got to pay all of his new coaches. It's just a cheap move. It probably saves Spanos $6, $7, $8 million bucks, but it's like when you have Spanos money in your pocket, why not go get Brian Daboll? I don't get it. Now look, Brian Daboll might turn out to be a bum of a coach, and I like Staley. He might turn out to be a bum of a coach. I don't know, but the bottom line is I can't call it a homer over the fence 500-footer when I don't think they did what was best for the football team. I think he did what was best for the pocketbook. And that is not a winning move.
Well, this is the Spanos family, dude. This is why they can't stand him in San Diego, and this is why they have no relevancy in LA right now. Is because Spanos is just not into spending money. Come on, you're in the second largest market, and literally you're treating these guys like they're a minor league team. Seriously, you got them sitting over here playing over at StubHub Center. We got soccer and tennis over there. Okay. Yeah. And so pretty much you got an NFL team playing in a 20,000 seat stadium. Come on.
And look, now it goes beyond Spanos. Even Spanos can't screw this thing up as far as people. They will get fans. They will get fans with Herbert now. But with all those cats now, with Herbert leading the way, and they look again, Anthony Lynn. I trust me when I say if Anthony Lynn would have came back, they would have not gotten some new blood in there. It was getting a little stale. They get a new coach in there, and that's great, and that's fine and dandy. But yeah, Herbert and those guys, I think it's going to overcome Spanos. They're going to get tickets. They're going to get more fans. They're going to sell their box suites. They're going to sell their jerseys. That's something that they haven't done in the past. Herbert's got the quarterback superstar outweighs the owner, no matter how cheap or bad that owner might be, right?
Right. So with that beautiful stuff, Nick, as usual, go ahead and let them know where they can find you at. I got to go ahead and take a quick break, and then I got to run through these through the NBA and everything real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck with that. Good luck on the card tonight. And of course on Twitter, it's at Nicholas_Swit. You got the Green Light Special that airs weekdays 6 to 7. Now that we're getting back in the studio and trying to get at the light at the end of the tunnel with this COVID situation, that means more content. So we're excited about that. UTBG Saturday, excited for that. So lots of sports leading up to the Super Bowl. And I'll let you know about next week or the future, okay?
All right, perfect. Hopefully we can get you back in next Thursday and we can go rap some more about it, man. We're getting real testy here in March Madness, so I can't wait to talk to you about that as well too, man. Next week we were supposed to get into it, but hey, you know what? The NFL is always king. But thank you once again, Nick. Always a pleasure, brother. You have a beautiful day. We'll be right back in a moment, and when we get back, we're going to be talking some tickets, okay? This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? All right, we are back, and we are running kind of quickly right now, so you guys just bear with me a little bit. If it's going too fast, that's why we got the bets list and listed and all this good stuff up for you. But up first, let's go ahead and jump into it. From what I see here, we got the AAC tonight, and we got a good game between Memphis and SMU. I'm going to go with Memphis tonight with the plus 155. I think that they are a live dog tonight at on the road. And Memphis, Penny Hardaway, go ahead and get me home, dude. Plus 155. It's actually jumped up to plus 165 as well, too. So you guys jump on that. That's going to be some big value for you tonight. And as we move forward, we talk about Tulane and the top team in the conference, Houston. Houston coming in as a 17-point favorite on the road. This is risky business, in my opinion. I think Tulane is going to play up to it. It's going to be like their Final Four national championship game tonight, and they're going to go ahead and not lose by 17 points. They'll wind up losing by 10 or less, and that's what I'm going to do here in the AAC. As we move forward, we go to the Conference USA. In the Conference USA, we have UTEP minus 105 as our minus 105 today as our money line play in the conference. And then we also have Louisiana Tech going against their rival Southern Mississippi. And I think that Louisiana Tech is going to be too much for Southern Mississippi in this spot. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and take LA Tech to win this game by 8 or better. And then we have Rice as a home team. And Rice, you have to understand, is 10-4 this season. And I do not understand why they're a plus 7.5 dog to a team that's not as good. North Texas is decent. They're fine, but I think that Rice can beat them, and you can probably money line them tonight as well, too. So I'm taking the plus 7.5 Rice. Let's see how it shakes out. And then we got Middle Tennessee State tonight as well, too. This should be a good spot. Hopefully they show up for us tonight because they have their little issues and everything like that, but they are on at home. So let's see how it goes. I'm taking the plus 10.5. Let's see how it shakes out, and we move forward from there. So now we have ourselves the Mountain West Conference. And in the Mountain West Conference, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Wyoming with the plus 15.5 to start off the group tonight. And then we're going to go ahead and take San Jose State on the money line tonight, because I think San Jose State is a very live team tonight against Air Force, who only has 4 wins on the season to their 3 wins. And then we finish up with Fresno State in a good old rivalry game with the Lobos of New Mexico. And I think that what happens here is they go ahead and get themselves a nice win, and we're going to go ahead and see how it shakes out. But single what you like there. And once again, that's the Mountain West list for you. Now let's go ahead and talk some tickets in my favorite conference, the Pac-12. And in the Pac-12, we got USC coming up at 2:00. They'll be about the next hour or so, and they're going to be going against Oregon State over at the Galen Center. So I'm going to go ahead and take them to blow out Oregon State at the Galen Center today. So pretty much be ready for the Oregon game to be off Saturday as well too. Oregon is on postponement right now due to COVID, so that game will not be going down Saturday. So Oregon State gets to play a hungry UCLA team next time. And then we got Stanford tonight going against Arizona, and I think Stanford, with the young boy Zaire, I think they'll be able to go ahead and take care of their business and get themselves a good win, good cover tonight, and possibly a big upset over in Tucson. So let's see how it shakes out, and that's the plus 8.5 on Stanford. Now we have Cal, who's a big live dog to me tonight. You're going against a 4-8 Arizona State team that has not showed up all season, literally, to me. So pretty much that's what I'm going to do here. We're going to take the plus 7.5 on Cal. Let's see how it shakes out, and we roll from there. All right, so let's go ahead and talk to some NBA. And in my NBA preview tonight, we're going to go ahead and talk about first, we're going to talk about this game right here. It's going to be the Blazers game, and the Blazers coming into this one 7-5 straight up. In January, 6-6 over and under in January, 5-7 against the spread in January, and 2-3 the last 5 after a 5-2 start to the month. Then you got the Rockets coming in here 6-7 right now against the spread and straight up, and they've won their last 3 games in a row. And then the Rockets are 4-5 at home right now, and 2-10-1 on the over and under in January. And they're getting some good looks from this guy, Christian Wood. Christian Wood is averaging 23.8 points per game, and he's getting 10.8 rebounds per game as the lead man for the Rockets this season. Incredible stuff for a guy who wasn't even drafted 5 years ago. And if you guys heard the story, his girlfriend left him too. Wow. Irony. And then pretty much we have our next game coming up. That's going to be the Heat and the Lakers and the Pistons. And the Lakers Pistons, what I'm looking at here is going to be something that's going to be this is a pretty easy one to call. I think that the Lakers Pistons going to wind up being a Laker blowout in a sense. And I think what happens here is that the game will possibly stay under as well too. I think that the Lakers, they'll be the scoring team here, and I don't think the Lakers give up 100 points tonight. So there it is, plus 9.5 on the Lakers, over 214, over and under 214.5 tonight as well too. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. Now we got the Clippers and the Heat tonight, and the Clippers and the Heat. Boy, oh boy, this one is going to be a funny game tonight, because you see the Heat do not have the Lakers. The Clippers don't have anybody that's supposed to be significantly one of their stars. PG's out, and Kawhi's out as well too, and Pat Bev has been out like literally all season. So what is this team doing right now? So pretty much we'll see how it goes, but it is what it is at the end of the day. So pretty much I'm gonna go ahead and say about this one. This one's a toss-up. You got a -4 on the spread to the Heat. You got an over-under at 215. Let's see how it shakes out. Let's see how it goes. We move forward from there. Now, in the nightcap tonight, we do have ourselves a really, really good game here. That's going to be between the Warriors and the Suns, the two upstarts. And I think what happens here with the Warriors and the Suns tonight, whoever scores the most wins the game. It's that simple. You don't know who's going to win this game because it's such a toss-up of a game, but I favor Phoenix in this spot. I think that, Chris Paul always has a chip on his shoulder when he sees Steph, so I think he'll be up for it tonight, and they're on TNT tonight. They always like to show out there as well, too. So there it is for the NBA preview for tonight. Let's go ahead and start talk some tickets, and let's get to the money, dog. Let's get to the money. All right, so up first, we have here our CBB Primetime Pick 6. We're going to have Bradley Tonight. This is a 60-1 ticket as well, too. -5.5 to Bradley tonight. Then we got Michigan State money line +125 as well. And then we also have Winthrop -12 with them tonight, -12 on Winthrop. And then also we have UTEP with the +100 tonight. So you got to understand, I got these lines a little bit later because the other lines were from last night. And then we also have Northern Arizona as well too tonight with the +5. And then we have San Diego +27.5 tonight, going against the number 1 team in the nation, Gonzaga. All right, so we move on to the dog pick 4. And the dog pick 4, this will end your week if we can hit it. 72-1 on this ticket right here. You go ahead and put $20 on it, you get back $14.40, and I'm talking about $1,440, not $14.40. So pretty much the ticket looks like this. We have Memphis +165. We have Morehead State +165. We also have San Jose State tonight, as I told you guys before, +170. And then we round it out with the big dog tonight, those Cal Bears, all right, at +285. All right, now let's get down to the primetime pick 4 to wrap this bad boy up. And in the primetime pick 4 tonight, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take the Blazers with the we're going to take the Blazers tonight with the +170. That's going to be our dog of the day in the NBA. And then we're also going to take the over 214.5 with the Lakers and the Pistons tonight. Today, I know that it looks like it'll be a little moody, but I think we'll get the over 214.5. Lakers, come on, give me 120 or better tonight. You guys can't mess around with the Pistons tonight. You got to send a message because the Pistons are playing lottery ball right now. And then you have the under 213.5. Clippers Heat. I don't know where to go here, but I know that the scoring is going to be down a little bit. They don't have their top 2 stars in the game, and Jimmy Butler's still a 50-50 shot. So I think this would just be another game in the NBA tonight. And then I end this group with the Suns -140. I love the Suns tonight with that play, and I think Chris Paul comes up big tonight. We get a big night from Devin Booker as well too, and that's where I'm going with this one right here. And it is what it is at the end of the day. This is going to be a good card, talking tickets and everything. We had a great show today with Nick coming on in. We went a bit longer than I wanted to, but you know what? You just wanted to make sure that he got out all of his thoughts and everything like that, and they were some great thoughts as well too. So I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and this is the Primetime Angles Live, and we'll be back to you at noon tomorrow.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.